Hi, it's a bonus comic book stack this week. And it's like a short stack. It's like going to IHOP for comics, but let's face it, probably healthier. I'd like to think. Anyway, I'm giving this bonus because there were some books last week that I missed at House of Secrets for whatever reason. And I went to Golden Apple Comics on Melrose in Hollywood on Sunday to go to a signing for Daniel Kibblesmith's So You've Been Bitten by a Radioactive Spider, How to Survive in the Marvel Universe. There's a review of that on fanboyplanet.com and a link to purchase through bookshop.org, which I think is a great way to support both bookshops and Fanboy Planet. Anyway, so I picked up three books that a couple didn't know were out, and so I was very pleased to find these. So the first, and I actually read all three, is because they're all first issues. Uh, Death to Pachuco, very interesting to me. Written, co-designed, and lettered by Henry Barajas, and art direction by Rachel Merrill, with color art by Lee Laurid. Henry Barajas is one of those creators that Facebook keeps suggesting to me that I should know. And I'm sure I've seen Henry at conventions and not really known exactly what I know about him. And so it was high time. So Death to Pachuco is a book set during the Zoot Suit or after the Zoot Suit riots, mid World War II. By page 4, there's a quote that I found absolutely chilling and still applicable, sadly. Now's not a good time to be a Mexican. And it's a murder mystery with a Pachuco detective. And I appreciate books like this because, obviously, look at me. I'm 60, cishet, white male, and there are plenty of stories behind me on my bookshelf and in boxes in the garage and in another bookshelf no one needs to know that speak to, if not my experience, my viewpoint. And I really try to seek out creators that show me things from a different, like, obviously I did not grow up during World War II and experience this, but my experience is very different, and I really, really treasure a book like this. And it's really a pretty good mystery being set out. Some of the dialogues in Spanish and not translated, and that's okay. It just makes me kind of work a little harder on context. And I live in California, so really it is a shame I do not speak Spanish. Now my oldest daughter does. She is absolutely fluent, and so maybe I'll give this to her for Christmas. But so thank you, Henry Barajas. He will be at Revenge of Comics and Pinball tomorrow, which would be November 8th. There's a big all-day event, and so maybe I'll get to meet Henry face to face. Although I got to say, it's already autographed by him because of Golden Apple. So anyway, the second book, and I'm really mad at myself that I absolutely overlooked this in the first place at House of Secrets, which is Synthetics, Volume 1, Number 1. I kind of was like, rushing through what's on the stands, and absolutely failed to notice that this is written by J. Michael Straczynski. This would be, I think, the first book of an overall deal he had with Dark Horse that was announced during Comic-Con 2 summers ago. And I think it finally came to fruition. It is a hard sci-fi story, and it's art by my friend Tony Parker, who, if you were smart enough to pick up Medusa, the graphic novel last year, you realize he is an incredible comics artist who has not yet quite gotten that recognition he deserves. But obviously, if J. Michael Straczynski wants to work with him, he's known by the people that matter here. So it is art by Tony Parker and colored by Carrie Strachan. And I hope I pronounced that right. As always, please correct me if I'm wrong. And lettered by Steve Dutro. So Synthetics, Volume 1. I'm going to be honest. It's a bit of a downer, but it's like a Philip K. Dick story, but with science caught up. and I'm not quite sure where it's going, and I love that. But it is a little depressing because I'm waiting for the moment that Straczynski offers us hope for tomorrow. Uh, I mean, Greg Rucka and I believe it's Michael Lark, have Lazarus, and that's not the most upper of a story about what's going to happen to humanity in the near future. But I think there's still a little hope there. This, I don't see it yet. But again, I appreciate being challenged. Maybe I don't. It's maybe the challenge is can my own optimism overcome the depression of this story. But either way, it's good comics, and Jiminy Christmas is Tony's art fantastic in this. The last one I picked up at Golden Apple was The Beauty #1. This is a revival. This is not a reprint of. The Beauty was originally a series at Image Comics, and there were several trade paperbacks, which I know are sold out. But I did manage this summer to catch up on it through Global Comics. And I mean, I binged that book because it's written by co-created by Jeremy Hahn and Jason A. Hurley, with art by Emanuela Lupacchino, who I think is new to the team. This is about it's a near future where there is a venereal disease that basically makes people beautiful, and they get a slightly higher fever at all times. They run a low grade fever all the time, but hey, they're hot, no pun intended. Except, of course, in the first series was the revelation that after a couple of years of living with it, you do tend to burst into flames. Is that worth it in this society? That's a more frightening horror story than I want to admit. But anyway, and it's from Ignition Press, of which Jeremy Hahn is the creative director. And soon, if not already, the first trade paperback or the first omnibus is going to be released by Ignition Press, and so you can catch up on the old. But the other reason why this is timely is because Hulu, I believe, is going to have a TV series, live action series based on The Beauty. I thought it was going to be out by now, but I haven't seen anything. So these were three kind of off the beaten path books, and so I thought it was worth calling attention to because I run into still so many people that think this is all DC and Marvel, and it's just not. Now, I admit my taste tends to run a little more to horror these days, but I'm also writing that way, which reminds me that there is a Kickstarter coming soon for the horror anthology Horror Not Hate, which will be from Slow Feet Comics, and I will be putting up codes for that and links to that Kickstarter because it is an anthology that is all-star and me contributing a story with Rafael Navarro, who I obviously absolutely adore and am so grateful to be collaborating with him on a tale. They're good stories, the ones that I've read so far, and that all the proceeds, once the cost of printing the book and distributing gets done, will go to Lambda Law and Churla. So civil rights groups that may expand. I think that Slow Feed is already thinking we're going to need to do a second volume of Horror Not Hate. I say we because I'm trying to stay close to it to promote it, because obviously I see the absolute need for ways to both raise money for these causes, and at the same time that artists, yes, I call myself an artist, creators can kind of sublimate some of their frustration or anger through art. And again, beautiful looking book. So, follow that. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So that was Golden Apple. Then I did go back to House of Secrets on Wednesday, so I will record that as a separate stack. And now I really want pancakes. So please, everyone, thanks for watching this far, and remember, use your powers for good.